Okay, so Trump just extended the naval blockade against Iran indefinitely. And the question everybody's asking right now is this a power move, or is the US slowly walking into something it can't walk back from? Stick around because this story is way more complicated than the headlines are telling you. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been following the US-Iran situation, here's the quick version. After peace talks in Islamabad fell apart, Trump announced a full naval blockade of Iranian ports starting April 13th. Ships trying to enter or leave turned around. No shots fired, yet. But now, Trump has decided to make that blockade indefinite. So today, we're breaking down what that actually means and why experts are getting nervous. Here's the thing. Extending the blockade might sound aggressive, but according to analysts, it might actually be the opposite signal. The Guardian is reporting that prolonging the blockade could be an admission that going further, actually escalating militarily, is just too risky right now. Think about it. Iran is not folding. They're not rushing to the negotiating table. And blowing past a ceasefire line when the other side isn't budging, that's a dangerous gamble. And oil markets? Surprisingly, the extended blockade might not spike prices as much as people feared. But don't get too comfortable. The tension is absolutely still there. Now here's where it gets real. The US military footprint in the region is growing fast. A third carrier strike group, the USS George H.W. Bush, is on its way to the Middle East right now, coming all the way around South Africa. And a second task force carrying 2,500 US Marines, also heading there from the Pacific, expected to arrive by the end of April. On top of that, 2,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division have already been in the region since early April. That's a lot of firepower gathering in one spot. But here's the catch. These troops aren't meant to stay forever. They're on limited deployments, which means if the US wants to use them, the clock is ticking. So what could the US actually do with all these forces? One option analysts are floating is a move on Kharg Island. That's where the vast majority of Iran's oil exports get loaded onto tankers. Taking that island would basically cut off Iran's economic lifeline. But military experts aren't exactly rushing to call that a great idea. Matthew Saville from the Royal United Services Institute put it bluntly, and I'm paraphrasing here, the US probably prefers to threaten this kind of operation rather than actually do it. Because yeah, the US has the firepower. But is it really worth the risk? And this is what keeps analysts up at night. Even if the US launched a massive bombing campaign and wrecked Iran's infrastructure, nobody is sure that creates a willingness to negotiate. In fact, targeting hardline leaders could actually deepen the political deadlock, not break it. And another bombing run probably won't bring protesters back into the streets like before. So the US is in this uncomfortable middle ground. Too risky to escalate, but not enough pressure to force a deal. So where does that leave us? Experts say this battle of blockades still has time to run. Both sides, the US and Iran, are now playing a game of who blinks first over the Strait of Hormuz. Who breaks economically? Who makes the next mistake? And in that kind of volatile environment, escalation is always just one bad decision away. In fact, just this past Thursday, Trump threatened to destroy any small Iranian vessels caught laying mines. So yeah, the temperature is still very much up. Look, this situation is fluid, it's dangerous, and it's not going away anytime soon. The US has massive military power in the region right now, but power and a clear exit strategy are two very different things. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this blockade forces Iran to negotiate, or does it just make things worse?